Hi, this is Mark Waid, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's
The Krypton Report.
I am your host, Tyler, and welcome to Krypton Report, a podcast dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl. We're going to look at the Supergirl TV series, as well as the Krypton TV series, anything that has to do with the characters in their world. Comics, movies, TV shows. We will talk about everything and anything. We are part of the Southgate Media Group podcasting network. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, Apple Podcast, please leave us a review to help us get better. You can find me personal at JTYPatrick on Twitter and everything else. Today on the Krypton Report, we will be discussing the Justice League trailer Heroes, as well as Justice League footage, I guess you could say. And I won't be doing this by myself. I have with me a voice that you're getting used to hearing here, Mr. James Cole. Welcome back, James.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about Justice League.
All right. So they released what they're calling the final trailer for Justice League last week. And we waited a week to do this because, as we're going to discuss, they've released 3 TV spots. And then AT&T is releasing like one little video a week, highlighting each character. And this week's video was Aquaman. So we've got little snippets since the trailer. So you can tell the marketing machine is in full swing behind Justice League. And you know what? A lot of people are worried about this film. I'm going in. It's had a weird production. I'm going to push all that out of my head, and I'm going in just ready to enjoy seeing the Justice League on the screens. These characters that I've loved for so long, all up there together.
Definitely, me as well. Everybody's going to have their opinions. People are going to be... for whatever reason, the way it seems, DC gets the harder rap than anything else. But I'm going in completely wanting to see everything for myself, no matter what anybody says. I'm a fan of Zack Snyder, all of his films, and, Man of Steel, BVS, no different. And I'm sure Justice League is going to be great. Just for having all these characters on the big screen together for the first time.
I like BVS. I can understand where there are things in it that I'm not a huge fan of. I would like to have seen things a little differently. But I can understand where some people didn't like it, and some people are just, their minds, they're just out there. Like they're just on another planet.
Yeah.
That's their opinion. I'm not gonna hate on. I get where they're coming from.
Do it. You can't blame some of them with the theatrical version when it came out. I thoroughly enjoyed the theatrical version, and I saw almost all the beats that ended up in the Ultimate Edition. Because they just kind of cut them out, but they still had them like behind scenes. There are little things that I really loved in the Ultimate Edition. One being, I just liked the line about the wheelchair was encased in lead. The bomb was encased in lead, and Clark wouldn't be able to see it, even if he had tried. People said, well, why didn't he see the bomb? And I was like, maybe it was lead. And then in the Ultimate Edition, boom, there it is. Yeah.
And I'm like, I get those little nitpicks and stuff. Also, the film was a weird setup because I tried to put way too much more. I've often said I would have liked the film to have been a 2-parter. Part 1 being Batman versus Superman, and then those two reconciling at the end. And then at the end of that part would be Lex Luthor basically deciding he's going to have to step up his game. And, it's revealed that he's been pulling the strings the whole time. And then part 2 would have been called like Dawn of Justice, where it would have been Wonder Woman would have been introduced. That's when we would have got the Doomsday fight. There would have been more of Batman and Superman pairing up. Like Superman coming to Batman like, I need your help. And Superman would die that way. So we got a chance to really breathe with these characters a little bit more. But, as Snyder has said and conceived it after Man of Steel was, his trilogy is a very odd look at trilogies. The Superman trilogy being Superman, BVS, and then Justice League being the third part.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting kind of way to approach Superman's character and his story, is that the trilogy is like 3 different movies.
To build him up to be the Superman.
So I'm just like, I guess as excited I am for Justice League, I'm just more curious about what's next, because I do want a second Justice League film, because I want to see all 7 of them in full go. And not just like starting to form and everything that you have like in the first film. As well as we want our Man of Steel too. Okay? We want a Superman movie that's back to just being a Superman movie. So, but what we're going to talk about is we're going to, so far, what has your been impression with the trailer so far? We got that original Comic-Con footage from last year that had the White Stripes music in it. And then we got the official trailer, which is the one that started off with Bruce Wayne on the horse. Then we got the Comic-Con footage this year. So those 3, what has been your feeling and thoughts as you've experienced each one of those?
Well, each one has definitely got me more excited than the last. I think they've picked the music well. The different music, the White Stripes, then come together. And now even in this last one, we got Heroes. Kind of a cover of David Bowie's Heroes, but still a very good one and an amazing song.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out there real quick. What's interesting is, for the longest time, I didn't know that Heroes was a Bowie cover, because my friend was on the Godzilla soundtrack when the Wallflowers did it.
That was my first introduction to the song as well. It was quite a few years before I found out that it was a cover by David Bowie.
Yeah, I was like, wow, like that was just one of those things. Like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's just interesting, like the things you're exposed to and you don't realize, like Knocking on Heaven's Door. I didn't realize that Guns N' Roses had covered a Bob Dylan song for a while after, when I first heard it.
Yeah.
Things like that. So, and I think, like you were talking about the music with the trailers, I like the come together too. They finally released.
Yeah.
And I like it that it's like a remix, not so much a cover and stuff like that, because it helps you create the feel that you're going for instead of just using the regular song. So I've liked that. And on that note, I've heard people not like that they used a pop song in this trailer. And what it made me think back was when Joss Whedon, like, we know Whedon's involved, and this feels more like a Whedon-inspired trailer.
Mm-hmm.
The first trailer for the Avengers, if I remember, had 9 Inch Nails' We're in This Together Now playing. And this is kind of what that reminded me of. It's just that, like, a song that, it's shifting away more from, like, because we know that when they did the Come Together, Junkie XL had worked on the cover too, and since he was removed as composer, like, it kind of, I don't want to say softens, but it kind of does give a different tone to the footage of this trailer. So that's one thing that I've really thought about with the pop songs.
Right.
Yes, I would have liked to have heard some Danny Elfman score. We'll throw that out there right now. I'm very curious with what he's doing for the Justice League. I've been on record saying I'm happy that Junkie XL was removed. I feel like he makes good sound for when I'm watching a film, but for the most part, when I listen to a lot of his stuff on its own, like just putting in the CD or whatever, it just doesn't always translate the best. Like,
yeah, okay.
Not that it's bad, it's just I like a more classic composer. In the sense, like, even Hans Zimmer kind of bounces in between because, you think about he uses that modern edge, but at the same time, that piano part for Man of Steel, the beginning is extremely beautiful and simple.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. His score for the last two films is just absolutely beautiful. The different releases, each release since this film's been in development for so long, each release just tiny bits of footage, slowly revealing just a little bit more each time it comes out, and the music that they put with their reveal works. It's come together really well, and the way that in this one, the way Heroes works so well, because they have to become that the heroes, that team.
Yes, hold on. I'm gonna grab my baby. Hold on a second.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. One thing with this trailer and this style different than, I hate always saying that, and comparing with Marvel, was with Marvel, with each of them kind of having their solo film, you already have these established stories of them being heroic, and with this, it's like they're stepping up their game. Like, we don't know what Aquaman's been up to. We know he's been helping villagers. We know the Flash stopped a bank robbery and a convenience store getting robbed. We don't even know what Cyborg. Maybe he's not done much, So this is like, there's a line in one of the trailers that says, each one of us has held back in some way. And that's what we're getting here. Now, I will say, before we get into the trailer breakdown, I was shocked by this trailer. The fact that we got more of the same, just kind of retooled. Hold on, buddy, turn around. I was expecting maybe more of a trailer, a little bit more about the story. That was going to touch on a little bit more with Steppenwolf. I hope to see Steppenwolf's face. It was like a straight up shot, so we get more of an idea of him. But once again, this trailer, kind of pulled back and just it showed us some new footage, but it also showed us just like the same scenes, but a little bit different of where those scenes take place. Which is fine. I'm not against it.
Yeah. And some of the extra. Oh, absolutely. 100%. They've showed a lot of the same stuff. They threw some little bits in there that will be some story points. But some of the new stuff they added in there was some character interactions. Some of the team members talking to each other. And
that's what we need. That's what we need to see. Like, we need to see how these characters and people, their personalities work. Because that's a big, that's the big selling point, is them coming together and working. And we got, I had mentioned this to you kind of off-site. It was like, we know that Bruce got some sort of vision about Darkseid and about something dark coming. And then we had Luthor's little speech at the end of BVS. And I had said to you, like, do you think because at that time, Bruce Wayne was a good man in a dark place, kind of going, for lack of a better term, to the dark side, that's how he was able to see that? Or is it because the Flash was screwing up with time when he ran back, that Bruce got his vision?
Yeah, those are definitely those are definitely interesting thoughts. I'm very curious to see where they go with it, because some of those things that did seem more or less out of place to some, and I mean, yeah, they were out of place a little bit, but as a story beat, and I knew that they wanted that it was building towards more, that. And it's not traditional storytelling to put those out there and then just let them hang until the future installments actually dive in and explain what they're about. And
I was watching BVS, a little offshoot with Solo and stuff, and I was looking in the background to think, wouldn't it be something if maybe one of the characters that was in there gets to be revealed to be like Desaad or Godfrey, or even one of the minions of Darkseid that like came first undercover to prepare the world for invasion, and then Darkseid sends Steppenwolf to clean up anything else. But that's me thinking.
Yeah. Well, kind of along the lines of Darkseid, the invasion. From the trailer, there's some real interesting beats there. They've got obviously Robin Wright is back as Antiope,
which is so interesting. Like, thinking about, when did this battle take place with the Amazons, and why is it that just thinking about the lore that we learned about of the Amazons in Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in Wonder Woman, a lot of that lore kind of just feeds into Greek mythology. A lot of it is stories. I feel that that's what they are. Is a lot of them are stories. Like, they live through certain things, like that invasion that they've shown bits and pieces of since different Comic-Con trailers. But that war with the Amazons, and they said that the Atlanteans were involved, and Man was involved at the time. So
it's
that's kind of like what that
epic prologue,
sequence.
Like Lord of the Rings style. That,
right.
In that original Comic-Con trailer, we saw like what looked like King or something bearing what we can only assume is a mother box. Because there's supposed to be 3 mother boxes. Atlantis has one, Mankind has one, and then the Amazons have one. And I got thinking about this as I was watching Wonder Woman, was with the death of Ares. Okay, even with Diana still being there, because she's kind of like, we'll say, like a hidden pseudo god. With the death of Ares, in a sense, it's like the old gods are dead, and now the new gods can take over. Like, right,
kind of leaves it
makes me wonder,
leaves an opening for the new gods.
Like, what if we saw? Like, in the flashback battle, like, what if we saw, like, the actual Greek gods take part in it? And that's part of what would drive them away.
Crazy.
And then, like I said, that's what kind of like, oh, well, Ares died, he was the last of the gods, and then now there's no Superman anymore, who is kind of like a new god in a sense. I hate using the term new god just because it's such a stigma on like Darkseid and all of them being the new gods.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, with their story, when Jack Kirby wrote that long time ago, you know, it was Darkseid's sisters who were the old gods, and then when they,
Exactly.
took over, they became the new gods. So, long story short.
Yeah, very long story. The idea is once Superman was dead, in their eyes, that newer god that had established was gone. Now there's nothing, because like in the trailer it says no Kryptonian, no Lantern. Now there's not as they see it, there's no force to oppose them.
Yeah.
So
that
would be really cool. It would also be cool if we see something like with Poseidon as being like a reason or a way for the Atlanteans, just tying that back together.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
well, that's supposed to be where where the trident came from.
Exactly.
For the Atlantis. So, it all does tie together.
All right, so we're gonna jump into the Heroes trailer. And we'll as we go through it, we might jump back and hit high points or things we've noticed from the previous trailers. Because we could be here all day if we looked at all the trailers. And then, like I said, the TV spots that come out, and there's little things in there, a shot here and there. So I've seen this trailer like a gazillion times, literally, because like I have a video file on my computer here where I've just ripped every trailer and have like 20 minutes of Justice League footage, just sitting.
Nice.
Sure, it's all the same, a lot of same clips and stuff over and over, but it's just sitting here as one long trailer to view. But we're going to talk about when this trailer was coming out. There's a few things I wanted to see. I wanted to see Steppenwolf's face. I wanted to hear some Elfman score. I wanted to see the credits. And I wanted to see tickets now on sale. I did not want to see Superman. I was like, as much as, yes, I want to see Superman, okay? I don't want to see him in a trailer. I'm okay with the marketing. With him not showing up, we not seeing him. Because, we know he's coming back.
It's really built the anticipation of Superman's return.
Exactly. And I don't think they need him to sell this film. I think just watching this, just watching the trailer, and it's going to come out, when this film's done and over with, it's going to be like, who do you like more, Aquaman or Flash? That's what it's going to be when this movie ends.
That pretty much seems that way.
That's what it's going to be. And that's cool because I've always liked Aquaman, and I love what they're doing with him. And not to get too far ahead, but the reason why we brought this up is one of the greatest shots, period, is the opening of this trailer. And it kicks in at its lowest lane, walking outside. And I'm just going to watch it here for a second. Here, we'll take a moment. I got my volume turned down. But she walks outside, and she just there's someone standing in the cornfield. And she looks, and you hear that music kick in. And there's Clark, standing there. Sun's coming up. Just in the cornfield. He tells her. Takes that as a yes. She's wearing the ring, and it's just nice to see Henry's face.
Yeah, I love how they showed Superman without showing Superman. They showed a bit of Clark, and then moved on from him.
He's the third. I always say, that's him as the person. And as the person that he is we see the most of in Man of Steel. We have Clark, the exaggeration that he has to become to hide, and then Superman, who's more of this stoic figure that he presents himself as, and then you have him as himself, and that's what we see here. Kind of a callback to Superman the movie with the shirt and in the field, the sun rising.
I know.
I like the callbacks. I like the contrast they did. Almost a similar scene of looking out across the field, just the sky, a person in the field, from BVS, Bruce's dark place in BVS, and the dark and dying fields, and then in this, the vibrant colors and the sun rising.
I mean, it just brings you such happiness right off the bat, and then you hear that score kicking. It's just, and it's just like, man, this is what I'm waiting to see. And I'm like, and then like, you know, we have the flashback segment of her dumping the to remind you, like her dumping the dirt on the grave, and then it's cut to where she wakes up like it's a dream. And it makes me very interested how the scene's actually going to play out in the movie.
Me too. I think and I hope that this scene is cut to look like a dream for the trailer. I kind of hope that, you know, after his resurrection, that the first thing he wants to do, the first person he wants to see is Lois, and that's what he does. So I'm thinking that, you know, that's just cut. It's just made to look that way. I think that, you know, he's going to actually, this is a real thing, that his return to Lois.
Exactly. And I mean, and then the shot of her waking up is just so contrast to being dark about like how the world feels empty. We hear more of the reports about crime being up, world without hope,
terrorism,
Superman. We get another glimpse of that London. It looks like the attack where Wonder Woman shows up, but then we get like another quick shot of parademons, looks like attacking the Amazons. And then, of course, we see Steppenwolf descend down in the same shot.
The quick shot.
Now, this has been something that I've heard people debate is, well, it looks like a male warrior. When Steppenwolf attacks with his axe, he's either turning to ash or he's turning to a parademon. Because like we saw in Justice League War, they take prisoners of the planets that they're on and turn them to parademons. So it makes me, I'm kind of curious about that. I hope there's more to the process of becoming a parademon than just, you know, Steppenwolf's axe on the ground. Because that's very problematic.
It kind of does, and I think there's probably more to it than just, you know, just the axe to the ground being a painful transformation. I think with the slow reveals of, you know, Steppenwolf being the villain in this, not seeing Darkseid or possibly seeing anybody else for who knows how many more movies, that you know, parademons aren't taken back to Apocalypse to be tortured and transformed by Desaad, you know. So there's more of a way to do that on the battlefield and you know, turn the tides their favor by, you know, transforming them into the parademons, you know, mid battle, and have them turn right back over the other way.
And I agree. Like, I hope there's, like, I mean, if he has, like, because it looks like there's apocalyptic tech that he brings with him or something. It's kind of hard, like a ship or something. If it happens in the ship, fine. I think so far, like, I like the look of Steppenwolf. I like that he's bigger than them. It's also kind of getting a little on my nerves, just a little, that the big bads get to be like these. They cast great actors in the role, but then they're like motion captured. Think about, in Man of Steel, Zod's armor was all motion capture. It wasn't really there. And then we had Doomsday, of course, motion capture.
Motion CGI.
And then I think
besides
Ares,
Doomsday, big posing, that was a nice touch, though.
Yes. And then you think about Ares, like, I was looking back at when they released, like, the toys and what Ares was supposed to look like with the official Wonder Woman toys and everything. And then the Ares, when we got him in the movie, he was different. And it makes me wonder if they decided to change it during post-production, because he's like all CG outfit and everything.
Yeah, metal armor he got from all the metal and weapons around him.
And so when we look at Steppenwolf, I'm like, man, you have a great actor. He has a great voice. And he's all CG'd, and I'm like, I can get to a point, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I just would like the actor to because when it's like that, it makes me question, like, was the actor on set for a lot of the action scenes, or was it like they just filmed him in a booth to get his face like recognized and his voice, and then just molded that CG with the action created by the stuntman or whoever who was on set. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like that the villain is Steppenwolf. I like that it's someone that has enough of a back and forth storyline where we can do something different with him. And it's someone that people don't know. And it also leads to Darkseid being present in some form if he wants to show up in another movie, or if he shows up in this movie. We don't know, because, honestly, if we go through this, if this is the last trailer, we're not getting much more than what we've already seen. The biggest chunks of what was new was in the last trailer, where we actually saw Steppenwolf more. This is more like we see, like, the before shot or a different angle of a shot we've already seen.
Yeah, with Steppenwolf, they've shown him in so many different spots. So, he's got to be more than a physical presence. Just being big. Just being a big, powerful bad guy. He's in Atlantis. He's in the ancient war. He's fighting them in, it looks like, at least a couple of different places.
Yeah, because like he takes on Wonder Woman. She's trying to fight him by herself. He takes on, looks like he fights Aquaman in Atlantis, and I wonder if that's when Aquaman then decides to go back and reconsider Bruce's idea. Now, looking through the trailer, one of the shots that I think is interesting is where it looks like a bunch of parademons are coming out of a nuclear power plant.
I'm on that shot here as well. I wanted to talk about that.
Because, you have this little girl who, the way it's designed here, she's looking out the window and it cuts, and it's like parademons coming out of this nuclear plant. And I'm like, it looks almost like just bugs infesting.
Well, from the shot of Bruce sitting in the chair, with Diana standing up to his right, and he's talking, on the screens behind are actually some famous shots of locales in Chernobyl. So it seems as though that the apocalypse invasion has been on and off for centuries. That they might be turning the events of Chernobyl into having some sort of association with the with Apocalypse invading.
That could have been where the humans' mother box was located. And when they built it or dug it up or whatever, it released radiation. Now we get the same shot of Jim Gordon flipping the bat signal, and then we get that shot that we had before of Batman on the roof looking at the signal. Only this time they've added in the Batwing. This is one of those shots that's been altered because the Batwing has been added.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's interesting to me. Is like, what changed or what made him want to do that compared to before? When it was just kind of him standing there.
Yeah, because, still the iconic shot that they had before of him just on the rooftop looking up at the bat signal, just an iconic shot. But, yeah, it's changed. The Batwing comes in, where does it lead?
And then the next big shot, and that's when the hero song you get to really hear what it is. Because that's when you hear the vocals kick in. And the next shot is good old Aquaman.
And that's right, Aquaman.
Underwater, and that's straight up a new shot. That's straight up new footage of him. And I think the water scenes are what I'm interested in the most. As far as the technical aspect, making it feel like they really are underwater and that the water is physical presence. And it just looks, it looks awesome.
Oh, big time. They've done a lot of shooting underwater for a lot of different films and stuff, but then, they go down, they get their breather, they shoot it underwater, then they have to give them oxygen, go back up. It's a whole big process, but the entirety of the entire scene and everybody around, they've got to, speak, communicate, move. The technical aspects of creating Atlantis is just going to be, I'm sure that was incredibly challenging to bring that to the screen.
It makes me wonder, there's a thing they use when they're making movies dry to wet, or they'll use green screens and fans and motion to give you the impression, and they'll add effects to make it look like they're underwater. And in some instances it can be okay, in some it looks just awkward. And then I think, would they do something and I hate to even reference this, but it's the only thing I can think of. In Star Wars Episode 1, when they go to the Gungans underwater, and you kind of wonder why are the Gungans in these bubble places dry when they're technically, I guess because they're amphibious, they don't need to be in the water constantly. But would the Atlanteans have something like that, or would it just be open water the entire time? So I'm curious about what the Atlantis is going to be like in that sense. And then the trailer shifts. We see Wonder Woman standing on a Justice statue by the sword. Mm-hmm. Just epic. These are all I guess you could say all the character moments real quick. We can be heroes. We see Batman, then Aquaman, then Wonder Woman, then Cyborg chilling in his hoodie. At his house, pulling up something with a map, it looks like. And then it cuts to a very bright, which I like, shot of the Flash smiling. Mm-hmm. And then we get the shot of Aquaman in what I can only assume is some extremely cold water.
I would assume.
Because I know they filmed it in Iceland.
Yeah.
And he has the line about, have you ever heard the strongest man is strongest alone? And we get the Bruce Wayne, that's not how that saying goes line. Which is hilarious.
That's the exact opposite of the saying.
Yeah, that's the exact opposite of anything. And
yeah, along with that, that Bruce line, they're going for the Justice League Unlimited animated series where where Batman's funny beats come from his sarcasm.
Yes.
Come from something other than trying to be funny, trying to throw in quips. So, and not to jump ahead, but it's even that same way at the end of the trailer when we get there. You know, it comes from that same place.
Yeah.
The humor.
It comes from, yeah, exactly. I highly recommend anybody listening who hasn't seen, try to check out some episodes of Justice League, the animated series, before this, because it is probably the best cartoon ever. For all the characters. And since you brought that up, I really think that this Aquaman is going to be a nice blend of the Aquaman from the Justice League animated series, along with the Aquaman from Brave and the Bold. I kind of see it like, at first, he's going to be like the animated series Aquaman, very kind of strong, I don't need anyone. And then I think, based on some of the scenes where it looks like he's having fun with them fighting, and enjoying the people that he's with.
Part of my favorite thing about the DC universe so far is the way that they're introducing these characters. Jason Momoa this week has come out and said that some people might not like or enjoy his interpretation of Aquaman because he's not the king of Atlantis, that his story arc is not going to be fulfilled until the end of the Aquaman movie.
Which is great.
And I like how DC is just kind of like getting these characters in, and even if they're in this ensemble piece first and then they get their movie later, there's still more story to tell, and they're still on their hero's journey. You know, they're not just they put on the suit and they're like the greatest heroes in the world. You know,
exactly.
There's an emotional resonance to their development.
Exactly, and I'm completely okay with letting him, like, we meet Aquaman and then it filters into maybe the Aquaman film. Now, moving forward with the trailer, the next shot we get is the Batmobile, and this is where some of the new effects are. The sky is extremely red, and now I'm starting to wonder if this is Chernobyl, where they are. But we have what looks like purple crystal.
I'm not sure if it's like purple, like ash or tentacles or what that kind of keeps like spreading over.
And we have the Batmobile running down, and we get an awesome front view of the cannon on the Batmobile that blasts. We see that gun. We see that shell casing.
Kind of looks like looks like when they introduced the cannon first time in Arkham Knight.
Yeah. So we have that kind of like mysterious scene, and now that I think about it like more and more, I'm wondering if a lot of this battle that these scenes look like take place, if it is in like Chernobyl, an area where, as we all know, is you can't have these hero battles now in an area that's heavily populated. So it'd be somewhere that's not populated.
Yeah. For some reason, since Man of Steel, these battles can't be fought in a populated area.
Even though Ultron tried to just, destroy a whole city by lifting it in the air and destroy things. And
you got to give it to them for giving them the thing, like, the civilians come first, save people. That was a great beat, but it's like lift this entire city, destroy an entire city to destroy the planet, and there's really nothing wrong with that. But alien comes to destroy the planet and is destroying a city, same thing, and like it's outlandish.
I think my favorite meme I saw yesterday was it said, why is it, and I think you posted it or commented on it, like, why is it that DC gets criticized saying it's all too CG? And then it shows the image of Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok, where you can tell right now Thor Ragnarok's heavily CG. And it's like,
Yeah.
everybody lets that slide with Marvel. But when it comes to DC, people are like, oh, look at all that CG.
Yeah. And same beat. I had a meme too. It was Thor. The world is going to be destroyed. My world's end. It can be funny and laugh about it. But then when Superman is, in the exact same situation,
Yeah.
actually is carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he's showing it.
Yeah, everyone puts him down because
Like it is a double standard.
it straight up is a double standard that we're getting from the whole Marvel and DC back and forth.
And I love the Marvel movies. I've seen all of them. I'm going to see Thor Ragnarok. I do feel that they're kind of doing a disservice to the Planet Hulk storyline. We'll see how it goes. I'm still going to see it. They're fun and enjoyable.
I agree on both. On both of that. I like them both.
Yeah, that's about all on that.
So, the next shot we see is one we have seen before, and it's the Flash doing a stance, and then he takes off running. But what's fun to point out with this shot is, yes, it looks like it's at Heroes Park, but what's interesting is how brighter this shot looks, and how in this scene his lightning now looks more white compared to the previous trailer where it looked more blue.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene is definitely more vibrant. And then the next scene is where we can see is Steppenwolf punching Aquaman underwater. And Aquaman.
Well, before that, during the Flash run, the thing I'm curious about is you see Flash's foot hit the corner of a step, and it looks like things are the concrete and stuff is breaking around his foot.
Yes, it does.
It's going to be interesting it's going to be interesting the way they talk about and utilize Flash's powers. I think it's going to be something a little different than anything we've seen before, especially the Flash TV show.
I agree. I'm curious about how just the seeing we've only seen these two shots basically of him moving. We see in the trailer, so it's curious about how they show him move more. There's a scene, and I don't think it's in this trailer again, where it's like he pushes and fights some parademons, but it looks like he's so fast it's almost like he's there, then he's not, like he moves without us even being able to see it. So I'm curious.
Yeah, that one where it just looks like he pushes the parademon too. It's like he's so fast that just pushing him like that, sent him through those doors and smashing into the wall, with so much impact, with so much force.
And there's a flash shot later in this trailer I can't wait to discuss. So we see Aquaman get thrown fighting Steppenwolf, and then Steppenwolf and Aquaman crash into some sort of structure. So we are going to get a good scene, it looks like, in Atlantis. Mm-hmm. Cyborg screaming. It looks like he's on board of an apocalyptic vessel. We have a very sad-looking Wonder Woman face. She leaps into battle fighting Steppenwolf herself with parademons around. So this is the part of the trailer where it's showing us how each... And if you slow it down, you can kind of see Steppenwolf's face. But I'm more curious. I want to see a full-on good shot of his face. But this is the scene that shows us each one of them is fighting him, and they're not doing so well.
Yeah.
We see a police officer getting out of her car, looking up. We see that very interesting shot again of Bruce looking at what looks like a holographic image of Superman that some people are trying to say is Supergirl. We're not even.
It looks pretty much Superman to me. The boots, the pants, It looks a lot like.
It's a hologram, and I'm just gonna go with it and not pick it apart. Just let it go. We see the if you seek his monument, look around you from BVS, and then we get this awesome shot of Wonder Woman stepping on her sword and flipping it up and catching it. It just looks like she's about to go BA on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next scene is you got to pay quick attention, but it's Cyborg taking off. But if you look, Steppenwolf is behind him on the ground. And like Steppenwolf's getting up as Cyborg takes off. So it was that Cyborg's battle with Steppenwolf on his own.
All right, then a quick beat of the Flash.
Once again, we've seen this before, but looking at it now, like, it just looks brighter. And like I said, the lightning looks white. And then we get a different look of what seems like that image where he touches Wonder Woman's sword. That's what it looks like. Then we
Yeah, that's an interesting scene. I kind of wonder if she's like in a bad position. She loses a sword, it's falling, and then he just swoops around, stops it in midair, and she's able to get it and keep going or something. That's going to be a quite interesting use of how he's able to use his speed to help people out in those times of need like that.
Exactly. And then we get Batman putting on his goggles. And then Lily is piloting the Flying Fox towards a giant dome of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Aquaman in the sky, stabbing a parademon, then he's falling. And this is where I say, like, it reminds me of more of this Aquaman right here is going to be more along the lines of, like, the Brave and the Bold. He gets caught by Cyborg with the great line of, "Ride's not over yet." And he just...
My man.
And, yeah, he's just he's like, yeah, man, like, throw me back in there, I'm ready to fight some more. Like, he just...
Right. And every shot, this is a different shot of him throwing that trident into a parademon. But every time I see him fucking whip that trident into a parademon, or that one where he sticks 2 parademons with it, it's like, he's going to be dangerous.
Oh, yeah. I love it, though. It just looks fun. Spearing some parademons. And then we get Bruce in the Batmobile. And this is like a shot before a shot we've seen. The parademons are ripping off the top of the Batmobile. And then here comes Wonder Woman, and she takes them out. And this shot we've actually seen before, but it wasn't red. Like, we didn't have all the red that we have here. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have, like, there's a little bit of those purple thingies showing up. But this is where the shot gets really good for me, is we didn't have this before. The Flash runs by.
Yep.
And to me, like, it's so interesting because I'm like, it kind of shows just them more together. Like, and then we get the half smile shot of Wonder Woman. Another shot of Batman.
Just awesome.
In the Batmobile shooting guns, having a good time. And then we get a huge wide angle shot of, and like, the more we talk about, I feel like this is Chernobyl. I'm gonna say that some more and more, like, because we see more of the red, but like these purple thingies, and we see the Batmobile shooting and driving through, and it's all red. And then we get
blowing up buildings, the scene with the tower crashing over and stuff, like lots of like property damage.
Yeah, which is the best. And then we get the Aquaman on the Batmobile again.
Absolutely.
Doing his And this scene was...
Which I like the... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the color's a little different. It's more red and vibrant compared to before. But what were you going to say?
Well, then that jumps over to one of the TV spots that came out this week, where he says he tells Batman that you really are out of your mind, and Batman says, back to his sarcastic humor there, "I'm not the one who brought a pitchfork."
Yes, I was going to mention that too, like from the TV spot. Like, I love that. And then we get the closing shot scene is the Barry Allen with Diana and Bruce, and the bat signal shines, and he's all excited, like, "That's your sign, we gotta go." I mean, and then like he lowers his voice, and it's just kind of funny because like he has all this youthful energy,
Right? You're about to out Batman right there.
He's so excited for everything, and then like, Batman's like, I'm old, I'm in my 40s, and he's like, yeah, that's my sign. We need to go. And then he like looks at Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman's like, I'm like, hundreds of years old, guys, and they go off together. And that's the beat the trailer ends on, which is fun, and it hints at, it makes me wonder if we're gonna have some sort of like in the Justice League series, Bruce and Diana, like love story type thing, because Steve's dead.
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to it. It definitely played for some good story in the animated series. I feel that it could work because Steve being the first man she knew, the first man she fell in love with. He had that good spirit, that strong warrior spirit, and did what he did, sacrificed himself, and I feel that she could kind of see that same thing in Bruce, so I think it could work.
I agree too. It also, I think, I liked it in the Justice League cartoon, and like you said, I think it could work. Now, looking forward, I'm going to kind of skim through this here. They released a trailer that same day on Instagram. It was a little different. We have a shot of Alfred talking to Bruce, saying things about his team. And what else was different
Yes,
here?
that's the Unite trailer that they released on Instagram.
Yep. And then we see what looks like an Amazon glowing with power, shooting an arrow at an apocalyptic ship. Batman,
Which I assume is probably the ancient battle.
Yep.
Down an apocalyptic ship with an arrow of some sort.
We have Batman using his grapple hook and kick some parademons. We get during the shot that we have seen before of Aquaman like stopping the water or parting the seas. We get a shot real quick of him moving backwards, but we see it from the ground, so we see the trident like go through the ground.
Yes. Which is very interesting to me, the water scene. I mean, obviously Steppenwolf and some other apocalyptians, they would have some power to, move earth and water, just saying that much power, not particularly control of earth and water, but enough power to move that, so is that coming at him, or does that have anything to do with perhaps Joe Manganiello's tease at New York Comic Con, where he wore that Legion of Doom shirt with the same font as Justice League?
Man, I was gonna
like,
bring
could that
up.
be could that be some sort of a hint at, the Legion of Doom, Ocean Master, an early look at these characters or something?
I was thinking more of Black Manta.
Yeah.
I hope they play Ocean Master out, which I feel they do, where he's kind of like, you don't realize he's a villain, but he is a villain kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to get to that, Joe, here in a second. So we get the next clip is Diana, what seems like it's a beat right after she flips the sword back in her hand. She's yelling as she jumps through the air. And then we see Steppenwolf on the ground where Cyborg lands. What else is... Oh, then I have them all together. So then the next TV spot shows the Justice League like coming up in the Batcave. Like an underwater elevator, and Flash is just like ear-to-ear grins. We see where Bruce says, I need warriors. We see Aquaman in his just regular civilian clothes. We do get a beat shot early. We had seen before where Aquaman looks like he's standing on a rock in the earlier footage. In this, we see him coming from the air and lands on it as if he jumped from somewhere.
Mm.
But once again, like just looking at the footage,
that shot of them like coming up there's that big noticeable gap in between people. Like, have they digitally removed Superman from maybe one or two little shots? It's not like that. It's not like that hasn't been done before. Digitally removing aspects from a trailer just to keep something hidden so that when you see it in the film, it's there.
Yep. I was going to say that because I read that and I got thinking about that because I feel like there might be some of that in the new Star Wars trailer, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I wonder if there's some scenes where, and just the way this is, like, watching the footage, like, just, we're seeing the same footage, just maybe a little, a beat before, a beat after. It seems like a whole bunch of this movie is still, like, hidden to us. We see it, we get a scene here where one of the robbers in that opening Wonder Woman shot hits her on the back of the head with a gun, and she just turns around, and we see that Alfred's monitoring her, which is a kind of a really cool reveal.
Yeah.
Because I always thought,
I like that. It seemed like he went through. I like that Alfred quote, that Alfred saying right there. Doesn't seem like he thought that went through. Like, try and hit her in the head with a gun. Like, you messed up, dude.
Exactly. Because I thought, what if, like, when Wonder Woman ends, like, she's going off to stop something in London, I thought, what if, like, that was the scene, that opens up Justice League.
I thought the exact same thing.
But I kind of question it now with the whole Alfred monitoring her thing. But I mean, it's still possible.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how much? I mean, if they're getting more comic book accurate, how much did Batman monitor and study everybody that he learned about?
No, God.
He investigated everybody. I mean, that's where Justice League Doom and where that storyline came from. I believe it's Tower of Babel or something, where he's planned for these things. He's studied and investigated, and it'd be really nice to have that side of Bruce in the films.
Well, based on, I feel like he studied everybody before he approaches them to kind of get an idea of who they are, what they are, and. So moving to the next TV spot, which I cannot remember what it's named.
Are you talking about Friends one?
Maybe? Yeah, it is, because it opens up with the I need friends line from...
Yeah.
Because we have this glorious shot of Wonder Woman, Aquaman, the Flash, and Cyborg standing together while, like, there's just this red sky. This is a nice side view shot. And then in this TV spot is where we do see the scene of the Flash fighting the Parademon. We get a shot of Cyborg holding the mother box. Let's see what else is different here. Like I said, some of it. This is the one that has the "You are crazy. I didn't bring a pitchfork" dialogue. And then I think that's, like, all the newest, like, footage that we've gotten. There's one shot in one of these TV spots where you see what looks like a giant ship from Apocalypse dropping, like, fire. And it looks like it's during the ancient battle.
Right. The end of this TV spot, the Justice League Friends TV spot, that gets me the most, makes me the most curious, is at the end, there's a scene of Batman crouched down on the corner of a building or something, and he's overlooking what I assume it looks absolutely like Memorial Park, and it looks like the scout ship installation.
Yes. Like, he's going to break in and do something.
Exactly. And, like, what does he want? What's he going there for? The only thing I can think of is we need Superman.
Well,
there's
that line.
Created Doomsday.
There is that line where he says the world needs Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And So it makes me wonder, like, what he's willing to do. Now, like I said, there's a really cool thing that's going on. AT&T each week is doing a Hero of the Week. Aquaman was this past week's, and it's just some scenes that we've already seen, but it's Momoa talking about it, and I'm just going to point out one shot in it that's really cool, that's new, is there's a scene where you're watching, it's Wonder Woman, Batman, and The Flash, and what looks like the three of them showing up to talk to Gordon, because Batman's starting to stand up as if he just leaped down, and the Flash comes running into the frame. It's just kind of neat to see. I look forward to seeing who we get this week. I wonder if it'll be the Flash or Cyborg, just because I feel like those are three characters that they're trying to introduce us to. More so.
Yeah, I think they're going to be an introduction, and I think those three are going to be the standout characters of the movie.
So that
and during the Aquaman, there's that shot of me swimming.
Yes.
Like they've got the look of kind of moving around in Atlantis. She's swimming and then just swoops up and stops. It's not like they have full control of everything and every motion they have underneath the water.
So that's all the footage that's been released new since the Heroes trailer. That we've kind of broke down and looked at and speculated on. Something else I wonder if Heroes Park, if something, we get the Hall of Justice. I don't know, just that area, if that's where they build the Hall of Justice. That just came to me yesterday as I was thinking about stuff. That'd be really cool to see.
They have so much. They really have so much to go, so much to use, backwards, forwards. They can do a lot of different stuff moving forward, especially as, this movie is the rise out of darkness. That's what Zack Snyder's trilogy's been about.
So,
yeah, I can't wait for the rest of these individual features. Plus, it has one of the earliest screenshots we got was the team after the door opens and there's all the smoke. And we've always seen the shot, just the door opens, but actually in that Aquaman trailer, you actually get the door opens and they're all walking out. You actually get to see that scene in motion a little bit.
Yes.
Instead of just one shot.
And it just makes all the difference.
Plus that DC logo with the green and the orange. Awesome.
Now, back to, real quick, while we have a moment here. Are you hoping that we do still get some sort of scene or tease or shot of Deathstroke in this movie?
Well, I do. I think Joe Manganiello is going to be excellent in the role, and the screen test that they did, the suit, the mask, everything. I mean, it looked amazing.
And I'm actually looking at that footage right now. Because so much has gone on with changes in production as far as the Batman, where that goes from, he had that shirt on, and it just makes me really hope that he does get, because they had speculated him appearing in Justice League, and I'm like, I hope he does somewhere, I hope we do get him appearing in Justice League at some point, and just looking at these trailers, watching all of them together and everything, it makes me like I said, I feel like there's a whole chunk of the movie we're not even seeing.
Yeah.
I feel like,
I think there's so much still hidden. There's the conflicting reports now since I guess the early fan screenings. Some people they had said that some people are cut out of the movie, and then there's other conflicting reports saying that these people they said were cut out of the movie aren't cut out of the movie. Did people see different cuts of the film? You know?
Do they see cuts of the film, or are they just not paying attention? I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things that makes me kind of question. Because I don't care, like, oh, Iris West is cut out. It's fine. I don't care. I hope they didn't cut out Billy Crudup. Like, I think that's important for his quick scene that we saw in an earlier preview.
Mm-hmm.
I like how all the Watchmen actors are appearing as the parents of characters. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I think Jackie Earle Haley should be Scarecrow, and I think Matthew Good would be an awesome Eobard Thawne. Just throwing those out there so we can round out our Watchmen cast.
That's excellent.
And, the whole Lex Luthor getting cut out, you know what? I don't know what kind of role he played, but I would have loved to have seen a scene of Lex Luthor sitting in Arkham. And maybe just a shot of, like, a hallway and a couple Batman villains in their cells.
Mm-hmm.
And then even if it's Luthor just sitting in his cell and he's shouting, he's coming or he's here, sensing the coming of Darkseid.
Well, you could also think about, Deathstroke's mercenary, and if that tease of Legion of Doom has anything, there's got to be some kind of financial backing, and Lex Luthor was a big part of the Legion of Doom. I mean, way back, Super Friends and everything. So, hey, he could easily be pulling more strings.
Exactly. Now, we're gonna have to put a pin in it right here with our Justice League thought, because I have a bigger task at hand. I must go be Super Daddy. The little ones call it's about time for their NAPs. So, thank you, James, for being back on the show and discussing Justice League. We know we'll have more talk as we get more footage, more reports, and the movie comes out. So definitely have to have you back for the Justice League review. I figured that's going to be probably another 2 episodes. Janine and I will probably do a immediate reaction episode where we talk about it after first seeing it, and then another episode as we kind of think about it and see it multiple times. So,
right.
All right, buddy. I'll
Sounds
get
good.
chocolate milk. So, all right, man. Well, thank you.
Sure.
Take care.
You as well.
And remember, look up in the sky for Superman.